Mexican border, Latinos on this site. All those border communities are Latinos, 90%. So it's a crime to militarize a whole section of the country and whole sections of communities. We do not need any more border protection. Actually, that money can be put in schools, education, jobs. We do not need any more border protection. Thank you.
Give them a round of applause, guys. Give them a round of applause. Positive.
All right, so everyone knows why we're here, right?
Yeah!
I think we're off the topic pretty dead right now. There's something that we haven't addressed, though. The women who are affected by this anti-immigration, racist fucking bullshit with its sexism underlining. When women and their families are separated, when their husbands are deported, the women often get into abusive relationships with closet racists or other people who take advantage of them because of their immigration status. That's something we need to combat. We can't talk about racism and exclude sexism when there are women of color who are not only discriminated against because of their race, but because they have a fucking vagina. Like, let's keep it real. We had to discuss this. So, while we're out here, we need to make sure we discuss sexism too, because the sexism that women of color face is something that people don't like to talk about. They think they can just focus on race and that eliminate the other issues people face, and that's bullshit. So we need to cut the bullshit and rest this. There's an International Women's Day March coming up on March 8th at Southside Park, 4 p.m. You guys are here fighting fascism. Fascism utilizes sexism and racism to cause a massive amount of divisiveness. So I hope to see some of you guys out there. That's all I want to say to represent for the fucking vaginas here, the women of color.
What PM is the rally? Is that what I heard?
March 8th, 4 p.m. Southside Park. Big ass Latino mural. People need to be there.
Same place as the top of
And I'm streaming, so this goes on Facebook.
That's what's up.
And YouTube.
It was a horrible impromptu speech. Let's get the fuck
Pretty much. Hey, actually the impromptus are usually the best because you're more like amped up.
I think there's a lot of great information that has been said within this circle. I want to thank you all for coming.
A little louder? Yeah.
I want to thank you all for coming and allowing me to speak as well. All right, so I think one thing we also need to address when we speak about immigration is contextualize the policies that are being implemented as well. They're trying to dehumanize and dehumanize the people that are coming over by not addressing the simple policies that we're putting on it as the neoliberalistic tactics, capitalism, the NAFTA, for instance. That are placing people and taking them from their homelands and leaving them nowhere to go. But
Listen, if you could shut up again while grown folks are talking.
So when we think about, immigration reform, it's for all the people, and as well as the policies that we're implementing, we have to be aware of all this stuff because we do this throughout the world as United States, as displaced people. We're very oppressive. So whenever talks are going on, we need to understand that the policies that we implement, we have to fight as well, and that's how one way we can contextualize it as migration. People are not coming here to come and use resources. They're coming here because they're being displaced from their communities.
Okay, I just want to thank everyone that came here today. Just want to let you guys know, if you guys see that side right there, and then we see this side here, this is what America looks like. Latinos, white people, black people, everyone together. Racist people down there, they're not white. These are Nazis. These are people having sex with each other. These are people that wrong. These are the ones that everybody would hate to see that America would look like. We just want to let everyone know that, you know what? We're here with Raza. We're united. We're united together. This is how we're going to stand together and make a difference right here. I got my son, my nephew. We came back. We come from Richmond, 2 hours drive, just to let everyone know. You know what? We stand for the right things that we're supposed to do as human beings, not like these white racist people down here on the side. So you know what? Thank everyone for coming here. Gracias.
Hold on a second. Let me get somewhere quiet.
Have fun with that.
Well, first off, man, follow up that speech, especially by our down brother, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming up from Richmond. I'm over there in Contra Costa County myself. Represent United Native Americans, which is, of course, the first militant Indian organization to rise to international prominence, years before the American Indian movement. I come here today to support our fellow indigenous brothers and sisters from the South. Now, as far as this border, it's disgusting to see this border try to divide us as a human race. When you think about all of the immigrants who have come over here on boats, who come over here on planes, who come over here on many different ways. Now, as far as immigration reform, as the indigenous people of this land, North, Central, and South America, we need to stop looking at ourselves as immigrants. We are indigenous people here. This is our lands. We have always migrated from place to place, as tribal people. We have done that since the beginning of time. Now, today, when you look at that term, immigrant, that signifies that you come from a faraway land. How are you coming from a faraway land if you're already here on this continent? That does not make any sense. Just like the Canadian Indians up north right now, they're having the Idle No More movement going on as far as the Roundance Revolution. And it's very good. It's enlightened a lot of people to the indigenous causes and to let people know that indigenous people are still here and we are fighting for the return of our ancestral lands. Now, getting back to why we're here, I'm glad to see all the faces and all the colors of the rainbow come together on this side, because we are all Americans. We are all of one race, one blood, one people. And it's good to see that unity. It's good to feel that unity, because it's going to take unity and love that we have within our hearts to combat this hate and racism that you see on the other side. Now, one thing that we can do as the indigenous people, and what I'd like to see Jerry Brown actually do, one thing that he can actually do to help out the indigenous population is to sign into law the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Now, there are over 22 different countries worldwide that have actually adopted the UN DRIP, the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Now, we've already introduced that in Richmond. The city of Richmond has adopted that as a city ordinance. The city of Berkeley has adopted that as a city ordinance. But here in California, where we have one of the most progressive states in the United States, why can't Jerry Brown sign into law, state law, where it can begin as a grassroots movement, the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People? That is something that we as the indigenous people need to force this system, this corrupt system, to do for us. You know, and I want to remind everybody, this city that we are at right now was proprietor of Sacramento, was a slave trader. His name was General Sutter. Sutter's Fort, which is on the other side of Sacramento, they actually used to have California Indians as slaves. Long after the African American community was freed, we were still slaves here in North America as the indigenous people. We were the first slaves, and we were the last slaves to be emancipated. There's a book called The Other Californians that was written by an anthropologist by the name of Heiser. I recommend each and every one of you read this book, because it's not taught in K through 12. They're never going to teach our real history as far as our contributions as indigenous people. The Inca, the Maya, and the Azteca were performing skull surgery, while these racist fascists and their ancestors were actually living in caves. So who is superior? Who has actually contributed more for us as the human race?
In medicine.
The people.
In medicine, exactly. See, all of these different things that we've given to the world, but we are dehumanized. We are looked at as less than. It is time that the indigenous people and all of us as the color of the rainbow come together now in 2013 and embrace each other with love and peace and harmony. Oh, Matakias. All right.
I was gonna come over. I was gonna ask if you wanted to hold it.
Oh, you're gonna go?
Thank you for being at the state capitol.
Okay, could you? Got it.
Let's know who you are. This month represents Black history. It represents Black history. What are you doing in those steps? Promoting hate.